Hello, this is a short video. I'm going to demonstrate how to use the study Sierra Chart 1 to Sierra Chart 2. It's actually a pair of studies, so I'm going to go over it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this from the very start all the way to the end, showing it step by step exactly how I set things up. Now, here's basically an outline of what I'm going over. So the Sierra Chart 1 and Sierra Chart 2 studies are the study is made basically when you need to transfer a piece of information from one instance of Sierra Chart to another instance of Sierra Chart. Um, the demo I'm going to use is I'm going to transfer the position quantity between two instances of Sierra Chart. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is to set up the master, and then we're going to set up the slave. For the sake of the terms that I use, Sierra Chart 1 is the master. That's the one that we're kind of monitoring the position size, and we want to transfer the current position size in Sierra Chart 1 to a second instance of Sierra Chart, which I call Sierra Chart 2. Now, there are two studies. One study is called the master study. That's applied to Sierra Chart 1. The second study is called the Sierra Chart slave, and that's applied to Sierra Chart 2. And I'm going to show you how I do that in just a moment. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to be setting up the master. So I'm going to start Sierra Chart. And as you'll see, I have two instances of Sierra Chart here. One is this one, which I have under the Sierra Chart folder, and the other one is called Sierra Chart 2 to demonstrate this. So I'll first start by bringing this one up. I'll start up Sierra Chart, let that go. And we're going to open a chart. So I'll open ES. And this is bringing up a 15-minute ES chart. And the next thing we want to do is to set up a spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm going to be using a spreadsheet for this demonstration in order to get the position quantity. So I'll take a spreadsheet for trading, and I'll just give it a new name and call it master. And I will hide it. And I think that's about all I need here. Click OK. Let's see that that's up there all right. Okay, so basically the value that I want to transfer, let me put it this way. First of all, the study will work on transferring basically a subgraph. So what I want to do, I want to populate the position quantity, which is available here in the cell J8, over to a subgraph. So I go to the first subgraph here, to O, and I'll say this is equal to $J $8. Okay, which is currently 0 because we're flat. If I go over here and I'll insert just to refresh things and come back to the chart, you can see that Sierra Chart's populated the whole column with zeros, which is fine because we're just going to be grabbing this last value, the current value, so to speak, and passing it on to the slave. So once we have the spreadsheet set up and we're ready to we have the subgraph that we want to transfer, the next thing we need to do is we're going to add the master study, and we're going to configure the master study, and then we're going to just put it into a replay mode for the simulation. So I'm going to add the master study to the chart. Okay, so as you can see under the trade 29 DLL, there are two studies that are relevant for this demonstration. One is the Sierra Chart to Sierra Chart to master study, and the other one's going to be the slave study. So we're starting with the master, and I'll add that to the chart. The master basically has just two inputs. One is a reference, which we're going to tell the master study which value we want it to be transferring. So I'm going to be choosing the spreadsheet as my study, and then I'll select the O subgraph, which is the one we just configured to hold the position size. And I'm going to enable it. I'm just going to click yes, and enabled, and enabled. And as you can see, it prints out that this is the master, and it's kind of convenient up there. The last thing I'll do before we go and configure the slave is I will replay this chart. I'll just put it into replay mode. Let me bring it back a little bit just so it starts to do something. And I will play it. Okay, it's going to kill all of those, and we are good to go. So we're done with setting up the master, I think. Let's just see that I didn't forget anything. Yep, we're in replay. Now we're going to set up the slave. Okay, so I'm going to go to my second instance of Sierra Chart, my Sierra Chart 2, and I'll launch this one. Okay, so this is bringing up the second instance. And now we're going to be setting up the slave. So let's open up another chart. Open up ES again. This could be any symbol, but I'm just bringing this one up. And I'll change just the time frame here from 15 minutes to 5 minutes, just so we can distinguish between them more easily, between the two different instances of Sierra Chart. And in this case, what we're going to do is I'm just going to add the slave. Okay, so the first thing we do is I'm going to be adding the slave study. So again, under the Sierra Chart, sorry, the Tray 29 list of studies, I have Sierra Chart to Sierra Chart 2 slave study, adding that. And if I look here, this one only needs to be set to enabled, and it also has a subgraph to which the value that we just transferred will be made available. So in our case, we should be expecting to see the position quantity populated into this subgraph. One thing that's convenient to do is if I open up a spreadsheet, just any spreadsheet, I could use let's just do the basic one for this demonstration. And let's plot this to, you don't want to see the spreadsheet, and let's change the spreadsheet name to slave, and yeah, and we do want to set this do not output subgraphs to ignore. Our subgraph is set to ignore. We want to see the values, so I'm going to change this to no, and click OK, and click OK, and let's just see what we have here. Yep, so it's plotting the master's data subgraph at AA over here, and as you can see, it's 0 all the way through. That's because our current position on the master is 0. One thing that I wanted to do, and this I'll probably need to change. This is a small little bug. We want the slave displayed in region 1, and there we go. Now we can see that this is also the slave. So up till here, what we have is we have just configured the master, we've configured the slave, we put the master into replay and enabled. We still need to put the slave into replay, so I'm going to run a replay on the slave as well. Replay chart. Let's bring it back a bit actually to here, just any point, and let's replay this one as well. Okay, so next I'm going to do a small simulation. And what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to enter a trade on the master, and I expect to see that value transferred from the master to the slave and populated in the spreadsheet on that slave, in that column that we had visible in the spreadsheet. So let's first make both of these instances visible so you can see what's going on. This is the slave. I'm going to put this one on the right. And this is the master. I'm going to put this one on the left. And this is the 5-minute replay, which is this one, and this is the 15-minute replay. And as you remember, we have a column here showing us zeros because we're currently empty on the order on the position. And we also have a column here which is showing a 0 because we're empty on the position as well. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to enter a trade on the master and see how that gets populated on the slave. So um, let's turn chart trade mode to on so I can trade directly from the chart, and then I'm going to do a buy market and confirm that. And as you can see, I got a trade going on in here. You'll notice that we already can really see that the number 1 has been populated here on the slave side, which is reflective of this first trade. Obviously, we'll see that there's 1 been populated across this whole column because we're currently position size is 1. And let's say now that we're going to see that if I flatten this position, I expect this to turn to 0 on the slave side. So I go to the master, and then I will flatten and cancel. And voila, the slave got the notification and is updated to a 0 quantity size. That pretty much concludes the demonstration. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with these two studies in terms of what data to transfer between the two. And once you have the data on the other side, there's the logic that you could have implemented on the slave side, how to react to position changes, whether you enter a trade on the slave CR charts, or do raise an alert, or whatever you need to do over there. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.